There's a lot of stuff going around online about how this election is the one election that we really cannot vote for the Greens. True. In my opinion, there's no election where a country can afford to vote for those who would push a socialist or communist style agenda of big government control. But they are right. This coming election is a much more dangerous one for Australia because it's pretty clear that there's little or no path for Labor to win in its own right, which means it will have to form a coalition-style partnership with the Teals and or the Greens to form a majority. So we have the very real possibility, very real, of seeing Anthony Albanese as Prime Minister with Adam Bandt and maybe another Green or Teal getting a ministry to run and real government authority and real power in government. And given the total circus that we've seen from the Greens in recent years, that should scare the pants off everyone. Just the Greens' insane policies on defence alone are bad enough. Donald Trump is a bad orange man, says Adam Bandt, without any actual supporting evidence. And Australia should end its AUKUS defence arrangement with the United States.
But just to be clear, are you saying boot the Americans out of Pine Gap and the top end?
Well, look, I think the priority at the moment should be to end AUKUS, to end the AUKUS agreement. We do have a long-standing position, as you've just said, about those other facilities. But right now, look, the Prime Minister and the government just gave Donald Trump the best part of $1 billion just in the last couple of weeks for submarines that may never arrive.
Wow. Wake-up call time, Adam. Australia is lucky to have a defence arrangement with the United States. Australia is a sitting duck without the United States. I know it hurts our pride to admit it. I know we'd all like to think, oh, we're fine on our own. But China has 1.2 billion people. Remember that. We have 27 million. And this kind of infantile thinking from a second-rate pea-brain politician could get us all killed. No, I'm not kidding. The Greens are no longer just a joke that we can chuckle at. They're a seriously dangerous threat to our national security. We paid $1 billion under the AUKUS scheme to buy the submarine tech that the United States is selling to us. The subs will come. Nobody's just handing over $1 billion to Donald Trump, as he puts it. But not only does Adam think that we should cut ties with the US on defence, he won't commit to spending 1 cent more on defence in Australia as a result.
We've relied on this US alliance for decades. If we walk away from it, walk away from AUKUS and other elements of it, do you acknowledge we're going to have to increase defence spending considerably?
What we're going to need to do is ensure that public money is being spent on the defence of Australia and that we've got a defence force that is fit for purpose. Now, we've had costed the AUKUS contributions. It's over the near term, the next decade. We're looking at $70-odd billion being spent on it. Now, reallocating that would go a long way to ensuring that Australia has a fit-for-purpose defence force.
Whether we need to go beyond that and increase defence spending as a percentage of GDP, as many are arguing.
Well, look, I would say the priority at the moment is to work out whether we're spending existing money well.
That was Adam Bandt, the leader of the Australian Greens, with his ingenious strategy for Australia's defence. Let's not rely on the US anymore, let's just wing it. And let's not spend any more money on defence ourselves either. Well, that's a great strategy when China's circling your country with boats and letting off live ammunition, Adam. Great work. Now, I agree that there might be more efficient and better ways to spend some of the money than on those nuclear submarines. But to suggest that we don't need the United States as a super tight and strong ally, give me a break. But anyway, back to the economy. The Greens are simply not a party who truly understand how government and the economy works. That Australia's wealth and prosperity is largely the result of the adoption of a competitive, free market, capitalist, evil capitalism, capitalist system. Albeit with a very large dose of socialist-style policies and government-run stuff and high taxation thrown in. It is clear that the radical left have no new message to bring to the public about their approach to government and the economy because they're still using the same messages they've been using in every election everywhere in the world for the last 150 years. Rich people are bad bastards who ate all the pies. And if we just tax all the rich mongrels and evil corporations, everyone else will be richer. It totally doesn't matter that this approach, everywhere it's ever been tried, has failed dismally. Not only has it failed to produce wealth, it's destroyed wealth. Everything falls apart because the incentives get all screwed up. Instead of institutions of government being forced to focus on serving the clients that they exist to serve, like they do when they're private, and having to be accountable to every customer in the marketplace, what happens? Well, they know they're getting their funding from the government, the taxpayer, so they just begin to serve themselves. Imagine for a moment Qantas and Telstra's terrible service being even worse because there's not even a Virgin or an Optus for you to switch to. They stop serving customers in socialist countries and they just serve themselves. Institutions just seek to make institutions more powerful, bureaucracy creates more bureaucracy, and then a country's wealth gets chewed up pretty fast by grossly inefficient management, and pretty soon everyone's got to queue up just to buy a loaf of bread for $50 if they can find one. The 20th century proved all this, and it also showed that socialism leads to something much worse. It leads to authoritarianism and hideous murder by government of its own people. You could ask the 100 million people who were killed by their own governments last century, only they're all dead. The other side doesn't get more than $1 billion of taxpayers' money to bring you news from a centre-right perspective like the ABC does to bring you news from a left-wing perspective. In fact, we don't get a red cent from the government. We need voluntary donors and supporters like you to keep going and growing. And we hate asking for charity, so we've done a deal with what we think is the world's best VPN, virtual private network service. It'll keep you and your family truly safe without slowing down your internet speeds, and you can watch Netflix or other streaming services using your regular accounts with them as if you're viewing from any country in the world. And you can sign up for less than $3 a month and get a whopping 83% off the normal price. Just go to piavpn.com/otherside to sign up and get more info. That's piavpn.com/otherside. That was a segment from a recent episode of our fortnightly news commentary show, The Other Side, with me, Damian. If you liked it, support us. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube right now so you don't miss a thing. It's totally free. Just click that subscribe button and the little bell. And check out our Other Side Unplugged show too, and join our mission to actually do something and change Aussie media for the better at othersidetv.com.au. That's othersidetv.com.au. Check it out now.